Joining me now to shed light on all of these new appointments, Representative Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, who is part of the President-elect's transition team. Thank you very much. Thanks for being with us.
Sure.
He promised to shake things up, and he's shaking things up. Mike Flynn, Jeff Sessions is something more predictable, certainly, because they have both been loyalists. But also Mike Pompeo, one of your colleagues. So have at it.
I'll tell you, Andrea, I love the fact that he is taking a non-traditional and unexpected approach. But I also appreciate the fact that Mr. Trump and Congressman Pence, Governor Pence, are looking first at the national security issues, and they're bringing to bear answers and direction and movement on the issue that people said repeatedly was the #1 issue, is our nation's security, so that we can return to a path for prosperity. And I'm certain you're going to see him get around to some of the other economic issues later. But I have to tell you, serving with Mike Pompeo, this is someone who is very well qualified. He is someone who understands the physical threat and also the virtual threat, and the combination of those and how we should approach them. And the American people should be very comfortable with getting to know him. They should trust him and know that he is going to, as he has done in the past, he will serve this nation well.
Well, we heard from the Director of National Intelligence and all of the other intelligence agencies that there was no question that Russia was involved in those cyber attacks. I mean, we heard this in testimony only yesterday. So if that's the case, is there a potential conflict between a CIA director, Mike Pompeo, following through on that? You say that he would be very good on the virtual threat. And then you've got Mike Flynn as National Security Advisor, who has been saying that people have been too tough in talking about Russia and Vladimir Putin.
I think, Andrea, what we have to do is look at the fact that Russia is intertwining themselves with other countries, whether it is China, whether it is Iran, whether it is other nation states, if you will, who have cyber warfare units. So Russia is not singular unto itself. And having individuals there that understand the way these threats move, the way they coalesce and form their participations, I think is important. Looking at China and their propensity for embedding hardware. Indeed, the New York Times had an article in this week about their embedding spyware into their hardware. And looking at these points of vulnerability in the virtual space, that is something that you want your NSA director and your CIA director to have an appreciation and an understanding for, as well as the physical threat. So I think these gentlemen working together are going to form a good team, and they will be there to inform the president and the vice president in a very holistic manner, which is what we need in order to fight these terrorist cells and the extremism that is popping up not only in one region, but as it metastasizes, it is moving around the globe, even terrorist cells here in the U.S.
And I wanted to ask you about Senator Sessions' background.
Sure.
We know he had a difficult time and did not get confirmed in 1986. What about those issues then? Do you think that, well, let me play a little bit of sound of what happened back then.
Sure.
Issues that have been raised before the Judiciary Committee have been heard and argued and settled. That matter is over, and I have no further comment about it.
Do you think that that will create problems for him if he does get confirmed to be Attorney General at a time when we have had a lot of racial conflict in this country?
That's right. I think what you're going to see from Jeff Sessions is someone who will implement the rule of law, abide by the rule of law. And he is known for being hardworking, for being fair-minded. He is very disciplined, exercises a lot of discernment. And I look forward to the job that he is going to bring and the transparency he's going to bring to the processes there at the Department of Justice. I think he's going to be a fine AG.
And just finally, would you ever have imagined that Mitt Romney could be in this cabinet after everything terrible that these two men have said about each other?
Well, I think that probably, Andrea, you and I each have a lot of experience of just having to kind of put things behind you and press forward. We are accustomed to doing that in our careers, and to see Mr. Trump's graciousness to offer the hand of friendship to Mitt Romney and to show how these two individuals can come together and talk about the good of the country. What an excellent role modeling that is for all Americans, that our differences, whether they're petty or they're broad, that our disagreements, whether they're vitriolic or they're minor, that there are times when you say, it is time for us to be bigger than that. It is time for us to unite and say, we are going to work together for the good of the country. And quite frankly, I think that this is going to be a very positive step, and it sends a message to Republicans and Democrats alike that, you know, let's move on. The people have spoken, a president is elected, an administration is transitioning, and for the good of the country, we move forward in good faith.
And do you think that Mitt Romney would bring more to this role than, let's say, Rudy Giuliani?
I think they bring different skill sets. And Andrea, being someone who appreciates organizational leadership, as I've looked at it, I think what you have to do is take the deliverables that a department expects to achieve over a 2-year period of time, and then look at the skill set of different individuals who are presenting themselves for consideration. And then you find the best match. And Mr. Trump and Governor Pence are the two who are going to be able to define those deliverables. And for those of us as an executive committee for the transition team, what we have to do is consider those as individuals send us resumes, call us, and want to move forward in service for the administration and for the country. And I will tell you, my phone, my text, my email, they're buzzing. Democrats, independents, Republicans, they're all coming forward to say this is the time to make systemic, bold, and far-reaching change for our nation to get ourselves on the right track. And most Americans agree we are on the wrong track. So they're very hopeful about where we're moving and the way they're seeing Mr. Trump approach the decision process.
Marsha Blackburn, thank you very much.
So good to be with you, Andrea. Thank you.
You too. Have a great weekend.
You too.